Well, hello everybody. We're continuing our study through John. I too have my journal going, and I keep having to add lines just because there's so much in the book of John. We finished chapter 8 yesterday. We had Jesus leaving as the Jewish officials picked up stones with his big statement of I am. He's claiming to be God right there. If you want to look back at Exodus 3, verse 14 is actually where God says that his name is I am. And so Jesus is claiming that, and they pick up stones to kill him. And so Jesus is leaving, and this is a continuation from chapter 9. Verse 1 is a continuation of that story, and it's talking about Jesus as he passes this blind man. He is asked by his disciples why this man is blind. Is it a sin that he did, or maybe his parents? And Jesus actually says it's neither of those, but actually it is so that the works of God might be displayed in him. And Jesus was talking about the very thing that was about to happen. He comes up to this blind man, spits on the ground, makes some mud, rubs it on this blind man's eyes, tells him to go to the pool of Siloam and wash, and when the man returns, he has sight. And this is the works that Jesus was talking about that would be displayed in him. But not just this, but what it would lead to. When you continue reading the story, so many people that know this man is blind, they've seen him for years and years and years, they know that he's the beggar, yet now this man can see. And everybody's trying to figure it out. They're asking him, and then these Pharisees that are trying to prove that Jesus is a sinner, that he should be killed, and that he's blasphemous, especially now that he's made this I am statement. They're all kind of trying to figure out what's going on, and so they keep asking this blind man. And what I love about this blind man is how tenacious he is, and they keep asking him, and you can see him get more and more annoyed as the story continues. And so these Pharisees go to him, and then they don't believe him, so they go to his parents, and his parents are basically like, he's a grown man, why don't you ask him? And then they go back to him, and they ask him yet again, and this guy's like, oh my gosh, I literally just answered that question. And he says, why are you asking me? Do you want to become his disciples too? He's kind of being sarcastic with him at this point. He's getting annoyed. And I love it because they're trying to figure out, and they basically say to him that we know that this man is a sinner. And now we have these officials, and on Sunday we learned that these men would have been extremely educated, and we know that this blind man probably was not very educated because he can't even see. And yet it's his turn to teach a lesson to these educated men. And this is what he's talking about. He's talking about how they know, okay, well then if sinners can't do this, and clearly this man does it, did this amazing thing in me, we come to verse 33, and it says the blind man says, if this man, talking about Jesus, were not from God, he could do nothing. And these Pharisees just kick him out, and Jesus actually comes up to him and says, do you want to believe in the Son of Man? The blind man answered, and who is he, sir, that I may believe in him? Jesus said, you have seen him, and it is he who is speaking to you. He said, Lord, I believe. We see the power and the importance of faith in this story. And we have so much knowledge in these Jewish officials, and yet they still could not see. But in this simple act of faith, and the faith of this blind man to be able to stand up to those officials who have rejected him up until this point, and he's able to just stand up and be that sarcastic with them because he had that faith, because that was proven, and God's work was displayed in him and was displayed through him at this time. And so in this story you will see the importance of faith, and I just think that that's such an important thing to understand. Yes, we need knowledge. Yes, we are to seek after God and to know more about him, but ultimately we need faith, and we, like this blind man, need to call out to Jesus and say, Lord, I believe. That's the ultimate part of this story. And so, great chapter. For me, I wrote down in my personal prayer focus that I want to have faith like the blind man. I want to have faith like that, and to be able to stand up to those that try to prove my Jesus as a sinner, to try and prove him wrong, and be able to say that he is true and that I believe in him. But as a church, however, we are looking at this evening, Wednesday evening. We're going to have more people in this church than we've had probably in quite a while with our new classes that are starting up. So be praying for that. It's going to be chaotic. There's going to be a lot of people that are here. And so we ask that you would pray that these people would not just come for these free classes, but ultimately they would seek after a family to call their home church, but also that they would seek after a Jesus like this blind man to believe in. And so be praying for that. Be praying for tonight as we start this new chapter in our church with these Wednesday night classes. So I hope you enjoyed today, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Talk to you guys later.